What's up, y'all? Let's dive headfirst into today's stories. Editor's note: Op linked screenshots of his conversations. I took the liberty to transcribe it to you guys. These sections will be marked with screenshot of conversation and end of conversation. Now on to the story. Back in 2018, I had a temporary internship in California at a large tech company, so I took a recommendation from a friend about a room for rent. It would be living with 5 other people, but otherwise, it looked fantastic. It had spacious common areas, multiple huge TVs, full amenities, community rec center with pool, short drive times to multiple places of interest, all for $650 per month, utilities included. I contacted the landlord, whom I will refer to as Poopy Landlord. He seemed fine on the phone, so I sent him my security deposit to move in a month later. When it came time to move in, I discover a few caveats that came with this low rent price. The common areas were all dusty, none of the 3 large TVs worked properly. If we wanted access to the rec center and pool, we'd need to pay the $80 per month membership fee, and all of the short drives time estimates were exaggerated, unless you were speeding at 2x the speed limit. Whatever, it's not the end of the world, especially at the relatively low price. I'll survive. But then it got worse in the coming months. Poopy Landlord decided to charge us an extra $20 per month for paper towels and public cleaning supplies. Poopy Landlord only checked the community mailbox once a week when he was in town and refused to trust anybody with the mailbox key. As it starts to roll into the summer, in June, Poopy Landlord decided that AC cost too much and we were using too much, so he removed the thermostat from the wall. Okay. One day some of us tenants confronted him when he was at the house, since Poopy Landlord also slept at the house about less than 1 day/week, and I'll never forget his words as he rushed out of the house: "It's legal for me to do it and I don't care since I don't have to live here." Well sir, duck you. I'm tilted as F at this guy's obvious money grab from 6 tenants. Well, it turns out he's right, he legally doesn't need to provide air conditioning. So, the next day I purchase a high BTU freestanding portable air conditioner that exhausts out the window. Holy poop, this thing was luxury. Of course I pump my room to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, the lowest setting. We have a couple other minor disagreements that wind up with Poopy Landlord texting me that it's fine if I wanted to break my lease and move out early. Screenshot of conversation: Poopy Landlord: "Hey man, don't bring friend into this conversation. I would be more than happy to let you move out and get into a different place. You can have 30 days to get something better. I'm not gonna hold you from here. I took you in because you were recommended, but I should have done my homework on you, to make sure we are having the same expectations. Op, I have spoken to friend about this issue and we are on the same page as far as cleaning goes. I too should have done my homework about the living conditions because I took friend's word on everything being Gucci. Unfortunately, yes, it appears that my ideal living arrangement is ultimately different from that of friend, as well as the living arrangement that you are providing. Poopy Landlord: "Okay, great. Please give me a 30 days notice for your move out. Whenever you're ready, give me your notice." End of conversation. Perfect. When Poopy Landlord finally gets a whiff of my AC setup, he comes to my room to complain about my AC unit. I reply curtly: "It's legal for me to do it and I don't care since I don't have to pay for electricity." He leaves and later sends me a text. Screenshot of conversation: Poopy Landlord: "Op, about the AC unit you have in your room. If you chose to run the AC in your room at 50 degrees because your computer generates so much heat, that is your choice. But you will need to pay an additional $100 per month for the additional electricity you've been spending. And that's going from the time you installed it in the room without my permission. Thank you much." And what I meant by 50 degrees is not the actual temperature, because I noticed you like to twist words in your favor. The AC unit needs to come out of the room today. Thank you much. The electric bill more than double since last month, with the temperatures being very close to the same. Op, I am willing to cease usage of my portable AC unit on the condition that the temperature of the house be set to 72°F. Regardless, I am under no obligation to pay your completely arbitrary and baseless demand of $100 per month, and nor must I remove the unit from my room per your demands. You can request, but not demand, that I pay for a portion of any utility bill, regardless of your opinions. I do not appreciate it when you knowingly try to overstep your authority as a landlord and demand compliance to arbitrary policies that you have completely imagined out of thin air. I am very disappointed in you. End of conversation. Yay, okay. Unbeknownst to Poopy landlord, I'm taking his move-out offer seriously, and this whole time, I've been rallying the troops. All the tenants have been upset about everyone's living situation, so with some minor encouragement, I managed to convince 2 of the other 6 tenants to move out at the same time as me. They were on a month-to-month arrangement. I finally submit all our notices of intent to vacate at the same time, barely a week after my previous conversation with Poopy landlord. He's pissed. He was just trying to get me out of the house, but now he has 3 rooms to fill instead of just 1. I ask about my legally mandated pre-move-out inspection. In no uncertain terms, he told me to go frick myself. He said he's too busy to perform an inspection. Well, that's illegal, but okay. Time comes to move out. I found another room for rent much closer to the office for only $100 per month more. We all move out and I text Poopy landlord about my security deposit. No response. I text again. No response. Okay, I see where this is going. I spend days and days reading the law, compiling evidence/screenshots, and listing the laws that were broken. The smoking gun was the statute that requires a pre-move-out inspection and a list of things to fix, an itemized list of deductions within 21 days, or else Poopy landlord loses the right to withhold any of my deposit. In addition, he would be subject to treble damages if he's found to be acting in bad faith. I text again and again. Screenshot of conversation, op, loads of legal words thrown at Poopy landlord with no response, end of conversation. I give him plenty of leniency and I even cite the law so I can prove in court that I'm acting in good faith, and Poopy landlord intentionally ignored the laws that I made him aware about. Poopy landlord probably thinks I'm a young pushover college student who won't follow through with legal threats. Well sir, we're going to court because I'm petty as duck when it comes to people trying to duck me over. I file in small claims for $650 plus treble damages, plus court costs. Poopy landlord files a counterclaim of $2,000 for damages to the property, claiming I caused flooding, and I broke the microwave. Okay buddy. In response, I gather testimonies from 3 of the other tenants and I build my case into a 40-page packet of evidence, complete with page numbers, a table of contents, and descriptions for every screenshot and photo. I make 3 copies of everything and submit it to the court and the defendant, Poopy landlord. The court date is set for November and I leave the state just before Christmas, so just in time to appear in person since my internship ends and I fly home in December. He starts filing requests to postpone the trial. He cites a doctor's appointment and the motion is granted. Court date is rescheduled for a month later, in December, but still before I fly home. New court date approaches and he files another request to postpone, citing another doctor's appointment. Somehow that motion is granted as well and we're rescheduled yet again to January. Darn. January rolls around and surprise, surprise, guess who's got another doctor's appointment conveniently on the same exact day of the trial? Denied. The court finally got of his bullcrap and denied the motion because he can't prove he scheduled the doctor's appointment prior to the court date being moved. Velp. I'm not in CA anymore, I'm across the country on the East Coast. Poopy landlord thinks if I'm no longer in the state, he'll automatically win since I'm not willing to fly back to CA. Well, unbeknownst to Poopy landlord, California courts offer an option to appear by telephone. Ha! Court date comes and I get the call. I'm sworn in and then connected to the court. I'm given time to present my case. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare a script, so I kinda summarize the events and explain why I deserve money. Then Poopy landlord gets time to defend himself and explain his counterclaim. He doesn't prepare anything either and he ends up rambling about random poop that doesn't help his case at all. For example, he spends a lot of time explaining how another one of the tenants was crafty and so his behavior was justified. He doesn't even have a sliver of evidence for his counterclaim when the judge asks for it. The judge asks a few more questions and announces that he'll review the evidence and we'll get the decision in the mail. A couple weeks later, I get the judgment saying I'm owed $650. Poopy landlord gets nothing. Well damn, no treble damages for me. However, it's just my luck the Poopy landlord is a piece of crap that won't accept defeat. He files an appeal for who knows what. It's granted. Redo trial is scheduled for May. This time I'm 10 times more prepared. Once again, I'm sworn in and then they connect me to the courtroom speaker. This time I have a hashed out script that I read, making sure to emphasize how often I informed poopy landlord of the law, how often poopy landlord knowingly broke the law, and how I offered so much leniency and so many opportunities to do the right thing. Once again, poopy landlord doesn't prepare anything, but instead rambles on so much that even the judge tells him to get back on track multiple times. Poopy landlord claims I caused water damage and had to replace all the carpets. The judge asks for an invoice or receipt. He has none. Poopy landlord claims I broke the microwave, so the judge reads him the 3 witness statements that all state I didn't break the microwave. Poopy landlord says they're all lying. He still has no evidence whatsoever. At this point, the judge clearly sounds done with his crap and says we'll get his decision in the mail and the call ends. A couple weeks later, I get the judgment. I'm owed $1,800 and poopy landlord still gets nothing. Well damn, would you look at that? His appeal did not quite work out for him. He goes from owing $650 to owing me $1,800. Being the poop head that he is, he files for a mistrial, claiming I was not sworn in and that I lied in my testimony. Denied. Outside of court, poopy landlord offers a payment plan of $20 per month which will take 7.5 years to pay back, or otherwise he refuses to pay up. Okay, I see how collecting my money is going to be. I figure out he banks at BOA by looking up the checks I gave him for rent and seeing where they got cashed. I file for a writ of execution that will allow me to perform a bank levy. It's granted, so I prepare a packet for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to go to BOA and take his money. Laxt serves him with papers and orders BOA to freeze his account. After his allotted time, 30D, to contest the seizure, Laxt seizes his money, plus 10% APY interest, plus sheriff fees. I finally get the glorious check in the mail, 20 months after moving out. I'll probably frame it. Total, $1,893.91. What did you think? What would you have done differently? Share your opinions in the comments. And if you enjoyed the stories, slap that like and subscribe button for more of them, and don't forget to support the original writers with an upvote. Links are in the description. Peace out, and catch you tomorrow.